It was nice to get a break from all the academic stuff that we had in the previous periods, so it felt more at ease to me to work with creativity again.
So for me, the course is all about collaboration, and it's about creating a 3D model and then contextualizing that 3D model so it's not just becoming like, an abstract digital element online. So the course is quite complex, it's quite intense, and the students can get overwhelmed with it, but we do try to guide them step by step. Everybody doesn't know exactly how to do something perfectly the first time. You have to make mistakes and figure out why you made the mistakes and then just keep moving forward.
I think this course has a bit of magic because students start without knowing what they're going to produce, but also we don't know what students are going to produce, because from the toy they need to start conceptualizing how to present to an audience that, well, in many cases we don't know who they're going to be, and they have to conceptualize how from the 3D model they go to a much broader narrative that describes the positioning of these toys as cultural heritage objects, essentially.
Did not expect that we'd be focusing on toys. At first, I thought it was some sort of code word for something more related to data science. I don't know why. But ultimately, when they brought out the actual toys and I was like, okay, we are studying these, I was a little bit dubious about what their impact would be. But to be honest, I think immediately after and throughout the whole course, they have much deeper meanings, and they are based on the social and historical and cultural contexts, and especially the era that they are produced in.
Project like Toys with Voice, you have a lot of back and forth, going back to the plan, redoing the plan. I think it's way less straightforward than I would say a normal academic assignment. When you're confronted with something, with a new technology, a new platform, a new anything, you're just, okay, I just have to get down and understand it because there's no time to panic.
Traditional assignments were more about writing papers and getting answers on your exams, but this was more like an interactive process. So we did research, and while we did research we could apply it immediately to our 3D models.
There's still some noise, but that's because in the photos I didn't tell it to ignore this area.
It's the students who propose a toy. Then we have a very democratic process where there are some decisions about which toys will go forward and become part of the project, and then based on the interests of the students, then they pair up. We also have students presenting work in progress, having peer feedback, so having others look at their work and give them some feedback, make them, for example, think about potential ways to do things or certain theoretical angles to describe the objects that probably they have not thought about. So it's very much a collaborative process.
The communication part was a pretty big deal in this thing because you couldn't work on it simultaneously, so you had to really communicate well when you did things, how you did things, and it was also it depends on how you want to approach things and how you want to design things. So there's not one way to do it because there's not one right or wrong answer, and because everyone is working on a different toy, the capturing process can be a little challenging if some things don't go to plan. But if you have a toy that interests you, every step is pretty nice to do. So I think for us it helped because it was a chess set. You could really move the pieces and you can really build a narrative around it. But if you have a static toy, you really have to think through, okay, how I'm going to explain things, which aspects am I going to highlight when I'm talking about it.
I think getting to choose the toys and being able to create your own narrative around the toy excited me the most because I could let out my creativity and be a bit more spontaneous with my ideas and then work out how to incorporate them into the academic part of the project. So being able to work out those challenges and work around things that were impossible, I think that surprised me the most.
Basically what we did is to go through this tour, we highlighted his cute features, like stuff that is considered cute of him, and then what kind of role it plays in marketing, and like the way he sounds. But also the baby features that he has, and like his clothes are oversized, stuff like that.
And I think ultimately they all managed to get a 3D model, they all managed to get a 3D scholarly edition. So I would say through a very structured and guided process, students managed to achieve the learning goals of the course.
I think this is a really valuable process for them, not just as a student, but in their careers, in their life.
And you have to really have problem-solving skills to be able to overcome certain things, because you don't have infinite time.
We need to take into account things that were academic enough for the setting, but also interesting enough visually for a general public. Everything was very legitimate and very adequate for the space, while balancing different audiences and balancing different media.
Once they get there and their whole journey and like discovering what their toy is really saying or reflecting about our society, for me is the most rewarding part of teaching this course.
And I think that's when our students have kind of an aha moment, when everything falls together and then it makes sense as a complete narrative, as the bigger picture.
And it teaches you a lot. These sorts of technical hard skills are amazing to have. And I feel really proud that I can say I created a 3D model. Yeah.